water in the armrest.
The movie kicks off with Tess Thorne chatting on the phone with a friend. Tess is a famous mystery writer with a bunch of bestsellers under her belt. On this particular day, she has a book event at a library, so she quickly gets ready and heads out.
Yeah, personally, I'd go with the Siamese twins.
She hops in her car, punches in the library's location, and hits the road. After a long drive, Tess finally arrives at the library. As soon as she steps out her car,
President of the 3Bs. Finally,
she's warmly greeted by Ramona, the friendly library owner. Ramona, who personally invited Tess, is thrilled to have her there. Inside, the atmosphere is buzzing with excitement.
I am.
My Life, written by Tess Thorne.
Fans who have been following Tess's work for years light up when they see her. Standing before the crowd, Tess feels a rush of appreciation.
Strange and diabolical ants who...
These aren't just readers. They're people whose lives have been touched by her stories. Being surrounded by such devoted fans fills her with gratitude and reminds her why she loves writing.
I think the most important...
As the event wraps up and Tess is getting ready to leave, Ramona approaches her with a suggestion. I know a shortcut that'll get you home way faster.
In my case, the Queen.
She says with a smile. Tess, eager to save some time, appreciates the tip. She enters the new route into her GPS and sets off, feeling good about the smooth drive ahead.
Show up. And I hate bumps.
However, things take a bad turn when a piece of wood with nails suddenly gets stuck in her tire, forcing her to pull over. Frustrated, she steps out to check the damage and realizes she's stranded on an empty road with no help in sight. The place looks abandoned, and the chances of another car passing by seem slim. After waiting for a while, Tess spots a bus and waves desperately for it to stop, but it speeds past her without a second glance. Just when she starts losing hope, another vehicle approaches. She signals for it to stop, and to her relief, the driver pulls over. The man introduces himself as Lester and offers to help change her tire. Grateful, Tess watches as he gets to work, feeling a sense of relief.
I tried to call AAA, but...
I know. No cell phone.
Until she notices something chilling. The same type of spiked wood that ruined her tire is in Lester's car. A wave of fear crashes over her as she realizes this wasn't just bad luck. Lester planned it.
Did you?
No, I was actually thinking
Before she can react, Lester suddenly turns on her, hitting her so hard that she collapses to the ground, unconscious. He wastes no time, shoving her into his vehicle and driving to a secluded location. When Tess regains consciousness, she's met with a nightmare. Lester is attacking her in the most horrific way possible. She screams, pleads for mercy, but he is relentless, taking pleasure in her suffering. Eventually, Tess blacks out from the pain and exhaustion. When she comes to, she finds herself being dragged deep into the woods. Lester dumps her there like discarded trash, assuming she won't survive. After he leaves, Tess slowly starts to regain her senses. Every part of her body aches, but she manages to lift her head. That's when she notices something even worse. She's not alone. Surrounding her are the bodies of other women, all victims of Lester's brutality. The realization is horrifying, but amidst the terror, something inside her hardens. A flicker of determination ignites.
You're getting too much here.
She refuses to be just another one of his victims. Despite her injuries, Tess forces herself to move. Every step is agony, but she pushes forward, determined to find help. The road ahead is long and uncertain, but giving up isn't an option. When she hears an approaching vehicle, panic grips her. Instead of signaling for help, she hides in the shadows, terrified that it could be another predator. The trauma of what happened has shattered any trust she had in strangers. After what feels like an eternity, Tess stumbles upon a small shop. Desperate, she rushes inside to clean herself up and call her friend, but no one answers.
I don't remember exactly.
Frustrated yet resolute, she gathers her strength and makes her way home. The moment she steps inside, she wastes no time. She grabs her gun and loads it with bullets.
Van run off to Belize? Oh, by the way.
She knows Lester has her bag, which means he has her address. If he comes for her, she'll be ready. This time, she won't be the one caught off guard. The weight of what happened to Tessa is too much for her to bear. She's too shaken to even think about going to a hospital, so she locks herself inside her home, trying trying to process everything in solitude. As days pass, her physical wounds start healing, but the scars left on her mind run deep. Anger and a thirst for revenge against Lester begin to take root, pushing her towards an inevitable confrontation. Just as she's planning her next move,
Thorn.
This is she?
she receives a phone call. Her car is ready for pickup, but she has to get it before the authorities get involved. At the impound lot, she meets an elderly woman who notices her battered state and asks what happened.
Filters down to the next generation with no blue hair.
As Tessa shares her horrifying experience, the woman recounts her own tragic past. Her stepfather had brutally abused her, even taking out one of her eyes in a fit of rage.
Still, then the knife slipped.
She warns Tessa about the cruelty of men like Lester, urging her to stay strong in a world that often turns a blind eye to women's suffering. Tessa leaves with her car and heads home.
I missed you so much, Tom.
Once back, she checks her computer and stumbles upon a disturbing discovery. Ramona had taken her picture of the library and was the one who insisted she take the shortcut home. The realization hits her like a punch to the gut. Ramona had set her up. She had sent Tessa straight into Lester's trap. Then, the ultimate betrayal. Ramona and Lester are mother and son. After confirming this, Tessa sees proof that Ramona had emailed her picture to Lester. Enraged and betrayed, she grabs her gun and storms toward Ramona's house, hell-bent on making her pay. When Ramona opens the door and sees Tessa, her face drains of color. She stumbles back in terror, hands clasped together as she pleads for mercy, insisting she had nothing to do with it. But Tessa isn't buying it. Her heart has turned to stone. Just as she's about to pull the trigger, Ramona lunges at her, desperately trying to wrestle the gun away. A fierce struggle ensues, but Tessa quickly regains control. Without hesitation, she fires. Ramona collapses, lifeless. Tessa stands over her, trembling, blood splattered on her hands. Her gaze lands on a photo of Lester and his younger brother, their faces frozen in time with wide, innocent smiles. But innocence is long gone. Suddenly, she spots Lester in the distance, his hand wrapped in a bandage, driving away. Without a second thought, she jumps in her car and tails him to a remote, eerie place that mirrors the darkness inside her. As soon as she arrives, she gets out and starts searching for him, but Lester is nowhere in sight. The silence is suffocating. Then, she sees a truck rolling up. Instinctively, she hides, convinced Lester is behind the wheel. Her pulse pounds in her ears as she raises the gun, ready to end this once and for all. The truck stops. Without thinking, she fires, landing a headshot. But as the body tumbles out, a wave of horror crashes over her. It's not Lester. It's his brother, the same boy from the photograph. Grief and regret flood her as she drops to her knees beside him, the weight of her actions crushing her. Desperate to put an end to this nightmare, Tessa heads to the abandoned house nearby. She shines her flashlight inside and freezes in horror. The walls are covered with pictures, Lester and his brother assaulting women, then brutally murdering them. It was all a sick game for this twisted family. The pieces fall into place. While Lester was attacking her, his brother had been taking pictures. Then, a sound startles her. She follows it and finds Lester, completely unaware of her presence, busy working on something. Gripping the gun tightly, she stalks toward him like a predator, closing in on its prey. She could have taken him out from a distance, but no, she wants him to see her face. She wants him to know she survived. Lester turns, his eyes widening in shock. He thought she was dead. He lunges at her, but Tessa fires first. Even after taking multiple shots, he refuses to go down, his monstrous strength keeping him on his feet. He stumbles toward her, determined to finish what he started. But Tessa isn't the same helpless victim anymore. She grabs a wooden plank with nails sticking out and smashes it into his face. Lester howls in agony, blood pouring from his wounds. He tries to crawl toward a vehicle, desperate to escape, but his body betrays him. He's too weak. Tessa steps forward, her rage burning hotter than ever. She raises the gun one last time and fires, hitting him where it hurts the most. Lester lets out one final scream before falling lifeless. It's over. She's won. With her vengeance complete, Tessa finally breathes. The nightmare that haunted her is now buried along with the monsters who created it. And with that, the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, take care